3 tips to ace the SAT. I'm going to go into a little detail with each one of them. The first one is feedback loop, about coming back to your mistakes, which is so important. The second bit I'm going to talk about is thinking the SAT way, which is a certain analytical way that standardized tests want you to think, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And the third bit is about wanting it, really wanting to do really well on your exam, and that hunger that Steve Jobs talks about. And the first bit is feedback loop. Okay, so uh, I've seen so many cases where students keep doing questions, so many thousands sometimes, and don't come back to their mistakes. And they say, I studied so hard, I did this, I did that, but my score is so bad. That's because you didn't keep a log of your mistakes. Come back to them and redo them. So it's a simple mantra to improve on the SAT, but difficult to implement. So you have to keep a log of your mistakes and the ones you have, questions you have doubts in, filter them into a list, go through a process where you review the mistakes, which is a two-step process. Okay, why is the option that you mark wrong and why is the option that is correct? It's a conscious rewiring to think the SAT way. So after that is done, you go back to the questions you got wrong and had doubts in, redo them as a test. Our tendency is to repeat our mistakes. Yeah, so this exercise of redoing the mistakes and the doubt questions is sort of solidifying that rewiring that we did earlier by going back to the mistakes and thinking the SAT way, which comes down to my second point. So all standardized tests want you to think in a certain analytical way. Now, math, and there is a certain bucket of questions that comes on the math, bucket of topics that come on the math. And these questions are usually not super complicated. It's just about the right approach and the right direction you need to take, and some concepts that you need to learn. And the English is all about the patterns you see after a certain point in time. Very often you'll be able to see distractor options and start laughing at them, knowing that there's no chance this option can be correct, and you've seen that typical structures in so many questions that it can be a little funny if you let it. And you want to enjoy doing it. Yeah, you want to, even if it feels like a punishment, reading long texts and doing difficult math questions, you want to find some enjoyment in it, and it becomes easier on you through intent if you can consciously tell yourself that yeah, this is fun in a certain way. It becomes easier to do, and really get through the materials, and it'll stay with you longer. The third bit was about the hunger for success. You have to want it bad enough if you really want to get it. And the idea that giving the SAT your time and effort will get you what you want, which is that great score. It's a clear equation. I tell my students in class as well that the clearer you follow my instructions, the higher your score will be. Because if you hire me, there is a good chance that your score will improve. But I'm not the only one, and there are students who do it themselves. But guidance and hand holding really helps. But at the end of the day, you're taking the plunge, when you're taking the SAT. So I encourage you to, if you want that super high score, and or if you want to jump your score up a huge notch, you have to simulate the exam experience during practice. And this comes from fueling that desire to really want it, and simulating that exam experience sometimes also is about simulating the nervousness. I tell my students during practice tests that I encourage them to consciously try to feel nervous, because when you get used to the nervousness, it won't bog you down, because for sure you're going to be nervous on exam day at some level, but if you're used to that feeling, it's not going to bog your score down, and sometimes you can even use it to your advantage. So I'm not sure when you're going to be seeing this video, but very likely if you're taking the SAT, it's right around the corner, a few weeks. So study hard and study smart. Yeah, because it's often said that if you study smart, you don't have to study hard, which is wrong. If you study hard without studying smart, it's a losing game. And if you study smart without working hard, you're cut short, because if you work smart and work hard, you're better off than 99.9% of the competition. And that's what can get you to those super 1 percentiles, yeah, top 1 percentiles. All the best.